Hey y'all. I am so sorry that I missed the last 2 days of wellness. Y'all, life, when I tell you life kicked me in down the stairs since this summer, I really feel like I have been going through this thing where I feel like I'm getting momentum with things. Um Making momentum on some of the things that I've been working on, and then life stuff just happens that I have no control over. So this year has been it's just been challenging. And this weekend it was a challenging weekend. So I think I'm going to try my best because I actually have some videos that I just haven't edited. And I think I'm going to save those as like a bonus. So maybe one day this week I will do like 2 videos in one day. But if you are new here, you just seeing me for the first time, either here on live or maybe somehow you came across this after and you're watching. I'm Shantae. I share my journey with fibroids, my hormone health, all that jazz. And so I just share things that have been super helpful for me, even things that I'm working on right now. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit tonight, and I'm going to make it quick because I think my battery is also low on my phone, but I'm going to make it quick. I just was sitting down thinking about some of the things I want to do wellness wise for next year and how I want to change things. So I'll share a little bit about that here. So, for one thing, I want to get more in a proactive position with my health. And what I mean by that is just making sure that I am getting my labs done at a certain time every year, um, making sure that I am going to all my annual appointments or physicals or whatever, checkups, all that stuff. And to be honest, as I'm working on this, or as I was working on this, I'm realizing how hard it is once you have a diagnosis with something. It feels difficult to go from a proactive approach go from a reactive approach to a proactive approach. So if you don't have any diagnosis right now, I suggest you get started on, getting your lifestyle together, creating you a health plan or a wellness plan. And I'm actually thinking about doing like some kind of workshop or something about that because I really want us to go into the new year empowered and from an empowered position, especially because we are watching all the mess go on with healthcare and even like all these recalls on our food. So you just want to one of my goals on this channel is to get people in a more proactive, a positive position and a proactive position when it comes to their health and wellness. So, one of the things that I am doing to do that is creating this wellness plan. So, I create a wellness plan every year, but I am being more strategic about, I guess, what I really want from this plan and what my goals are, and being more strategic about also funding this because, being ill is expensive, so I try not to be ill, but, there are things that happen somewhat out of our control. So, but also, I realize too that staying well, because America, being well is kind of expensive too. It doesn't have to be, but because of where I am in my wellness journey, I need a little bit more. I got to put a little bit more budget, time, and energy behind what I am doing. But one thing that I just want to share like a couple tips about some things that I've been considering about funding my wellness or funding my wellness plan. And so one of those things that I decided to do this year is to start with what I need first instead of starting with how much money I actually have right now for what I need or what I want to do for my wellness or health journey. And the reason for this is, first of all, I'm a little bit delusional. And so I have come to a point that I feel like my health and well being is top priority. So if I need money or anything to, to further my health, I will figure that out. So I have given myself permission to write down whatever it is that I need to do, whatever it is I think will move the needle for me, to pray about it, meditate on it, and just write it down, regardless of how ridiculous or how ridiculously expensive it is, whatever the case. So that's one of the things that I would tell you, is that don't focus so much on how things cost. And I know that sounds crazy for me to say that in this economy. I'm actually, I like to call myself creatively employed right now. So it is not lost on me that that funds are tight right now and things are crazy. But I think it's important to do that because it'll help you make decisions later on about your health, like later on throughout your year, about what is the priority. When I made this plan, when I made this list, what was my priority when money wasn't involved? So even if I end up not being able to afford to do some of the things that I need to do, I don't want to stop myself from trying to go after what I need. Right. And so sometimes I feel like we do that. I was actually just recently going back and forth about whether I should do this procedure. And one of my friends asked me, and it's so funny because I had already had this thought before she asked me, but it was such a good question. And she was like, if money was off the table, would this be, would you be considering this procedure? And, fortunately and unfortunately, money wasn't the deciding factor for me on this. It was a factor, but it wasn't the sole deciding factor on this. But what I realized in that is, I was having a hard time making a decision because I wasn't going back to what I originally wanted to prioritize when it came to my health and well being. And B, I also don't want to let money be the sole factor in how I care for myself. In fact, I think it's ridiculous that we feel, because I don't actually think it's true that you have to be wealthier to be healthy, but I think it's ridiculous that, we feel this I guess this need to have more money just so we can be healthy. That's not right. And that's another one of the reasons why I try to share free and low cost things on this channel too, because I want wellness to be accessible, right? And by the way, this is coming from somebody who, when I do have my coins together, I love nice things. I love nice experiences, all that. I love an expensive wellness gadget. I really do. However, I don't think that you need all that stuff to be healthy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. My point was is that when you are budgeting for your wellness, write a dream, like basically a dream list of things that screenings you need to have, things that you need to have planned, or procedures that you need to have planned and how that's going to look for you. Go ahead and make you a list where you're not considering the cost, right? And then after you make that list, then write down the potential costs. Now, some tips on figuring out how much things cost. I know a lot of us are at the end of the year, so maybe you have had other procedures, other things done where maybe you might be a little bit closer to your deductible. So now is a good time if you can pull it off and have it done before the first. Now might be a good time if you've already used up a good chunk of your deductible. It might be a good time to get if there's something expensive, if there's a procedure or screening or something that you need that's expensive, to go ahead and try to squeeze it in now and use up those benefits if you do have insurance. Now, if you don't have insurance, which by the way, I have spent years, most of my career, I have been a contractor or a freelancer. And so I've had years where I didn't have health insurance, or I was paying an outrageous amount for really crappy insurance. Um, and so with that, again, I would just plan, okay, these are the things that I absolutely need to have done, and just plan to pay out of pocket with that. But also some things that you can do to check on costs, aside from, of course, calling the doctor's office, is also if you, particularly, I know for sure Blue Cross Blue Shield does it. But if you are on any, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, they for sure have a cost calculator. So you can put in the procedures that you think you need, search them, search for the codes for them or whatever, or even call and get them from get the codes from your doctor's office and look it up on your insurance. And so that can help you when you are budgeting for things or trying to decide, okay, how you need to strategically get the things that you need to have done. The other way is also sometimes if you just call your doctor's office or whatever and you tell them, like, hey, I don't have insurance, or, you know, if you were in the situation I was where your insurance was just crappy, you call them and you say, hey, I don't want to do this through insurance. What is your cash price? And sometimes you'll be shocked at how much cheaper that price is. And so, again, you put that in your plan for what you want to do, or for the things that you need to do for your health. Another thing is, if you are not putting money in your HSA, and you are, first of all, if you're over 30, actually, whatever age you are, if you do have access to a HSA, or you do have a eligible health insurance account, y'all put money in your HSA, because when I was like, I wish in my 20s I would have understood the impact of that, because I could have been putting money in my HSA and using it now for when I'm a little bit older. I have a few more health issues or things, got to be checked more frequently. You know, I wish that I had been basically saving for some of the health things that I am experiencing now. Even as just a family, I wish we had put aside more in our HSAs to help cover some of these things that come up now. But I didn't know better. Whatever. And by the way, I'm not giving out, like, this is not financial advice or anything like that. I'm just sharing some things that I'm doing or looking into right now. So another thing that I'm kind of looking into right now is some of those, I guess they're called like functional lab testing services, where you pay a couple $100 a year and they do all these different labs. And I think some of them even have specials and stuff right now. I'm curious about that, and I'm thinking about trying it because, they do have specials right now, and the price is really good on it, because I think what they charge is still cheaper than what I typically end up paying. And I don't think I even get as many labs when I'm going to my PCP. So those are just some things to consider. Like I said, I don't want to be too long and my phone is probably going to die, but I did want to show up for you guys today because I didn't for the last 2 days. And I will make it up to you guys some kind of way. I'm going to figure it out, do some extra videos. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, all the things. Leave me a comment if you're new here, introducing yourself. I love to connect with you guys. And I will see you tomorrow, because I'm going to post a video tomorrow. I'm either going to go live or post a video tomorrow. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you later.